David Jolly, Meredith McGraw, and Roland Martin are still with us. I want to expand this January 6th discussion past the actual hearings. I want to talk about the future, okay? And I want to talk about Ginni Thomas. She is the wife, for folks out there who don't know, of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, and she is once again making headlines for all the wrong reasons. This is after reports that Ginni Thomas contacted John Eastman. The committee has invited her to testify. Now, Ginni Thomas told the Daily Caller that she looks forward to, quote, clearing up any misconceptions. Now, Meredith, this looks like it's still in the early stages, but is there any word yet on when that testimony will be and what the committee will focus on when the testimony happens?
No, but I think what the committee really is trying to do with all of these hearings is really make a clear case in all the different ways and all the different angles that former President Donald Trump and his team tried to exert pressure on different people. This coming Tuesday, we're going to be hearing from Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger and others in Georgia who, of course, Trump famously called and tried to pressure to quote unquote, find votes to change the results of the election there. So with each of these hearings, last week it was the pressure campaign on Vice President Mike Pence, but they're showing all of the different ways that they tried to push people to act in certain ways.
Congressman, I want to talk about a recent New York Times report from last March. Actually, wait, no. I don't want to do the New York Times report. I want to talk about a New York Times story. They're telling me we're short on time, but I want to get to this point because it's something that Roland said earlier in the show, and it's something that I've been talking about. So Jamel Bouie of the New York Times, he wrote an op-ed and that said this. He said, quote, "The easiest thing for Democrats to do, of course, is nothing." He goes on to say if Democrats choose instead to act as a political party, they would do well to remember that if the tables were turned, their opponents would not hesitate to use every argument and every tool at their disposal. Congressman, if it were Republicans who were in the White House right now, if it were a Supreme Court justice appointed by a Republican, and we were talking about Ginni Thomas, who was the wife of someone else, wouldn't Republicans be all over this? Am I crazy?
Oh, they absolutely would. And look, I think Democrats on the Hill don't even need to consider the political consequences to realize if we do our job right, the American people are going to learn very damning information about the former president and Republicans, and they can make a political judgment. But I think in terms of going into November, Simone, to pick up on Roland's comment, do not let the Republican Party steal the platform of faith, the platform of freedom, the platform of love, the platform of parental rights, because their policies are actually antithetical to all of those things. And if today's Democratic Party can grab that mantle back from Republicans and say, we're the party of freedom, we're the party that believes in all things love, regardless of your faith, now you're talking to the American people exactly how they understand it. And you can beat back on this false prophet narrative that's going through today's Republican Party.
Roland, I refer to this theory as Democrats need to be willing, or just anyone who cares about our democracy needs to be willing to go toe-to-toe at this point. Call it how it is, call balls and strikes. And I'm wondering if you think that is the path forward for folks in this political discourse right now.
4 words, hail to the yeah. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. People want to see that you actually care. They want to see that you're going to fight for this country, that you're going to fight for them. And what is happening is Democrats are trying to play a game when the other side says there are no rules. The Democrats are going, no. According to Section 18.6, these are the rules of engagement. They've already made it clear there are none. And President Biden, please, for the love of God, stop saying this is not your grandfather's Republican Party. Guess what? That's gone. You've got to stop hearkening back for the Republican parties of the 80s and the early 90s when there were moderate Republicans. It is gone. They have to engage in warfare. Ginni Thomas is sleeping with one of 9 Supreme Court justices. Are you trying to actually convince me that Clarence Thomas somehow has no idea what his wife is doing? Hell, I know what my wife is doing. She know what I'm doing. And so it's utterly ludicrous. And Meredith, I hear your point about how they want to show how people around Trump were trying to show what he was doing. No, this is bigger than him. This has now gone past Donald Trump. This thing is now infected affected. It's going to have a mass effect on the elections because state
and it's still happening.
Local,
It's
they
still
change
happening.
districts. This is much deeper, and Democrats ain't getting this thing.
Well, I would just, David Jolly, Meredith McGraw, and Roland Martin, we could have this conversation all day. I will say that we're going to get into the active threats going on later on in this show, so people should stick around. And unfortunately, Donald Trump is still a threat to our democracy. I do not like talking about him as much as anybody else, but the threat is ongoing, y'all. Thank you so much for your time, folks.